welcome back to the Football Rundown. We're here with a match preview today. Stockport County take on Barnsley at Oakwell, away from home, this Saturday night, 7:45 kickoff under the lights at Oakwell. And it will be an interesting response, hopefully, from Stockport County after losing 4-1 to Leyton Orient at Edgeley Park last weekend. We've not spoke on the channel since that 4-1 defeat, which I think hit a lot of us very heavy. I obviously wasn't at the game, so it's difficult for me to be too critical at the performance, but I saw the 4 goals we let in, and each of them were really poor in their own right. I looked at a lot of the reaction on social media afterwards. A lot of people calling for Keillor-Dunn to be dropped, for Ben Hinchliffe to come back in goal. And whilst I didn't see the game, I did see the goals, and irrespective of the goals and how poorly they were conceded, I think that when a team loses by 4-1 or by 4 goals, they concede 4 goals, it's an overall collective team performance where it's gone wrong. So whilst Keillor-Dunn was really, really poor in that game, in terms of dealing with those goals that went in, you could argue a few of those were not completely down to him anyway. So I think maybe two he's absolutely at fault for. 2 he's been massively let down by the poor defence as well on that. So and obviously then people start talking about the poor goal which he let in against Mansfield as well. So I understand what people are saying. I understand the criticism of Keillor-Dunn in that game. Do I understand people asking for him to be dropped after one game? To be honest, I don't really. I think every game, every player has a mistake. Every player has a bad game. I'm sure Ben Hinchliffe, in the 10 years or so he's been at the club, almost he would have had poor games as well. So I think that it's a bit of an overreaction almost to say, Keillor-Dunn, okay, you've had 1 or 2 difficult games, now let's drop him, because at the beginning of the season, don't forget, the first 3 games we won the first 3 games and we had 3 clean sheets, I think, or something close to that. So he started the season relatively well, which is always a tough ask for a new goalkeeper coming in, especially replacing someone like Ben Hinchliffe, who's very well loved by the supporters, and obviously that showed with the reaction on Saturday night as well. A lot of people just want Ben Hinchliffe back because he's a club legend. It's familiarity, of what he's done for us. But at the end of the day, in the summer, Challoner and the people behind the scenes in the recruitment decided to bring in a new goalkeeper to challenge Ben Hinchliffe, and that's the decision they've gone down. That's the route they've gone down. For me, he started the season well. Has he had a difficult last few weeks? Possibly, but I think it's important we get behind these players. I don't know how much we would have spent on him, but they've gone out and bought a first-team goalkeeper, so they're not going to suddenly drop him and not play him again. And the problem is, if you drop him after one bad performance, his confidence will drop, and you actually end up destroying the player. So I think it's really important we show support, we show backing. If he continues to have another really set of 5 or 6 set of games where he's really poor, then you have to have a conversation about dropping him. But based on 1 game or 1 or 2 games, the team hasn't played well over the last 2 games as well. Don't forget, it's not like they've been scoring loads of goals. So, like I say, did he have a difficult game? It looks like he did. But did the rest of the team have look like they had a difficult game? 100%. So, whilst we did lose 4-1, it's our first defeat of the season. It's a heavy defeat as well for us to take. It's the first time we conceded 4 goals since we conceded 4 to Tranmere back in February last season, I believe. So yeah, of course it hits heavy, but we've got to look at the direction of the football club. We've started the season decent, then we had a little bit of a difficult run, or we're currently in a bit of a difficult run. Obviously the game on Saturday is not the kind of game you want to bounce back with, but having said that, we had a difficult few results at one point late on last season. We had MK Dons at the weekend, and we responded with a 5-0 win in a game which at that point in time you would probably say MK Dons went into that with a bit of confidence themselves. They were looking good at the end of the season. So this could almost be the perfect game for us in a lot of ways. A team that is going to be, a team that's regarded as a top team. They'll probably come to play football against us as well. That might play into our hands because we might have an opportunity to find gaps in behind. But what I would say is we have struggled against teams that have pressed us very well so far this season. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Dave Challoner handles this, but I do think we've got to see some changes in team selection, possibly a change in formation, because whatever's gone wrong over the last few weeks, it's gone wrong for some reason. And I think it's probably, we'll talk more about this later on in the video, I'm sure, when we go over team selection. But since Jay Mingy's absence at right back, since he obviously, I think, got injured, it might have been the end of the Bristol game. Since he's been out, I think we've failed to win in his absence actually in the league. So maybe there's a point to that. Maybe there's something to that. We've obviously tried Tyler Nyongo, sort of right back or right centre half, when we go into a back 3. We tried Cam Connolly last week, which I thought was a mistake because He'd only played his first minutes of the season for County in a game against Everton on 21s the midweek before, so I thought it was a mistake to drop him in like that. But neither of them two have, we haven't had comfortable results with either of them two in that position since Jay Mingy has been injured. So maybe there's something to that. Like I said, we'll discuss that later on. But right now we're going to talk about this weekend's opponents, Barnsley. Obviously Barnsley beat Burton Albion 2-1 away from home last weekend, ending a sour week where they lost 3-0 to Stevenage and 7-0 to Manchester United in the Carabao Cup. Luke O'Connell opened the scoring for Barnsley in a game which they held the lead for until the 88th minute when Burton's Jack Cooper-Love scored an equaliser. Barnsley, not being too beaten by the late goal, hit back 2 minutes later thanks to Stephen Humphreys, who scored his first at the 24-25 season. They come into this fixture sitting third in the table with 4 wins, 1 draw and 2 defeats from 7 matches so far this season. They're League One's joint and second highest scorers, along with Wickham, who have both scored 12 in the league up to now. However, they've conceded 10, which is as many as Stockport County have scored so far in League One. Darryl Clark is the Barnsley manager, having taken the role during the summer after leaving relegated Cheltenham Town. Clark has also managed the likes of Port Vale, Walsall and Bristol Rovers, as well as Salisbury City, where he started his managerial career back in 2010. Managing 637 matches in his career to date, he's picked up 274 wins, 148 draws and 215 defeats, resulting in an overall win percentage of 43%. Interestingly enough as well, Darryl Clark, some people may well know this, but Clark actually spent time on loan at Stockport County as a player, featuring in one match during the 2004-05 season. He'd played 32 minutes in a 3-0 away defeat to Luton Town. Barnsley's last league defeat at Oakwell came in match day 1 as they faced Mansfield Town in the League One's opening match played on a Friday night. Before that, they hadn't lost a league game at home since March, when they lost 2-0 to Cambridge United. In total, they lost 7 games at home last season, taking 34 points at home, meaning they were actually better away from home, where they lost just 5 times, collecting 42 points. Even this season, they've taken 4 points at Oakwell and 9 while away. In conclusion, they do appear to be a stronger team as a visiting side, and maybe that could be a slight boost in the hopes of Stockport County this weekend. So who are the threats then for Barnsley? Well, Barnsley have the likes of Adam Phillips, who has already scored 4 league goals this season, as well as Luke O'Connell, who of course scored in the last game. He's one to keep an eye on, as well as Davis Keillor-Dunn, a name that Stockport County fans will probably remember, made the move to Oakwell from Mansfield during the summer. Keillor-Dunn scored 22 goals from 46 matches in League 2 last season, 3 of which came against the Hatters. He scored 2 in a 3-2 win over County in August 2023, as well as the second in a 2-0 win at Edgley Park on New Year's Day. That defeat on New Year's Day would be one of just 2 league defeats at home for the rest of the League 2 season, and just one of the 3 league defeats in the whole calendar year to date for Stockport County. So he certainly will be a player to keep an eye on. Davis Keillor-Dunn, a nightmare in the eyes of Stockport County fans, as I say, with the goals he scored against us last season. So that's what we have on Barnsley. What can we say about Stockport County then? Well, of course, 7th currently in the table, started the season with 3 wins from 3. However, in their last 3, they've taken just 2 points, drawing back-to-back league games with Mansfield and Crawley, before losing 4-1 to Leyton Orient last weekend. This is the worst form County have been in since February this year, when they lost, of course, 3-1 to Crewe, 4-0 to Tranmere, 0-0 with Gillingham and 0-0 with Swindon Town. That 0-0 with Swindon Town is actually the last time that Stockport County failed to score a goal in the league, I believe. And if County were to lose to Barnsley this weekend, it would be the first away defeat since losing to Wrexham on the final day of the last season. It would also be the first time County have lost back-to-back league games since February, when they lost to Crewe and Tranmere consecutively. This weekend's meeting is the first since January 2005, when they met at Edgley Park. The game finished 2-2 after a 90th minute penalty from Warren Feeney saw the Hatters share a point. They also drew 3 each in the reverse fixture in December that season, December the 28th actually. The last time there was a winner in this fixture was back in 2004, when Barnsley arrived at Edgley Park winning 3-2. County have not beaten Barnsley since September 2002, when they scored 4 to win 4-1 with home advantage. And County last won at Oakwell in March 2001, winning 2-0 with Aaron Wilbraham scoring the second for County that day. If we just have a quick look at the league table as well, of course, Wrexham are top with 5 points from 7. Also, the highest goal difference in the league, Birmingham in second, the only team left unbeaten so far in League One this season. They've registered 5 wins as well, with a game in hand over Wrexham. Charlton in fourth, they've kept 4 clean sheets so far this season, scoring 7 while conceding 5. Huddersfield Town will be looking to respond after losing 3-1 to Northampton last time out. They take on Reading this weekend. Cambridge United sit bottom of the table and are in search for their first win of the season. Burton are the only other side yet to win a league game this season. Bolton find themselves 19th in the table, very far away from their third place finish last season. Reading have lost their last 2 league games, and they'll be looking to win their first and last in September, with of course the games finishing in League One. This September it's the last match day in September, should I say. Leyton Orient perhaps still on cloud 9 after their 4-1 win over the Hatters last weekend, could climb into the top half this weekend with an unlikely win over top of the table Wrexham. Wigan Athletic will take on County a week from now. They're currently 14th, and since beating Bristol Rovers 4-0, they've drawn 0-0 twice against Lincoln City and Stevenage. And if we look at the games coming up this weekend in League One, Crawley Town taking on Bolton Wanderers. That is on Sky Sports Plus at 12:30, as well as Reading Huddersfield also on Sky Sports Plus at 12:30. Birmingham City take on Peterborough, Blackpool versus Burton, Bristol versus Wickham, Cambridge against Lincoln City, Leyton Orient will take on Wrexham, Northampton versus Mansfield Town, Shrewsbury Town versus Rotherham United, Stevenage taking on Charlton, Wigan of course against Exeter, all 3 o'clock kickoffs, and then of course the late kickoff Barnsley versus Stockport County is available on Sky Sports Football. So we spoke about Corey Adai at the beginning of the video. We also spoke about that sort of right back, sort of right centre back position and what will happen with that. I think we'll see a switching formation going into this, away from the 4-3-3, away from the 3-4-3, whichever way you sort of interpret that formation that we've gone with over the last few weeks. I think we'll go with a 4-4-2 diamond, or maybe I hope we'll go with a 4-4-2 diamond. Personally, I want to see us go with that sort of Tanto Alafi, Louis Barry partnership, which we saw early on last season. If we can see them two forming a partnership, a strike partnership up top, bringing in Bate, but also finding a way to keep Oliver Norwood in the team as well, to keep his place, use his experience as well. I'm sure he'll play against Barnsley many times before, and of course them two will be joined in midfield by the ever-present Camps and Collar in midfield too. A defensive horseful Pioneer Baltore is not up for debate, but the right back position has been a problem of late. We spoke about the fact that Mingy, since he hasn't been involved, it's been a difficult period of time for Stockport County. For me, it's the decision between Onyango and of course Callum Connolly. Well, Connolly, I think maybe it's a little bit too soon for him, so I think we'll see Tyler Onyango hold that right back, right centre back position, depending on how the formation changes throughout the game. And of course, Corey Adai is going to stay in goal for me. He's got to keep his place between the sticks. Despite the heavy criticism, I think we've got to back our players, and I think that we can't be taking players out, especially a goalkeeper. You drop a goalkeeper, it's a big statement. You can make an argument for an outfield player. You can always try and bring him on as a sub or bring him on in a different position. It's a much bigger blow to lose your place as a goalkeeper, especially when you've been signed as a number one. So, yes, did he make terrible mistakes, last week and possibly in the game against Mansfield? Of course he did, but every player makes mistakes, and what we've got to do is we've got to back him. The club will believe in him. That's why they signed him, so they'll believe he'll bounce back, and we've got to give him the opportunity to bounce back as well. It's a huge game against Barnsley, really. Even before the last few weeks, you would look at this fixture at the beginning of the season and think this is going to be a tough game. So I don't think that our opinion over the form over the last few weeks changed our opinion on that. We always knew it was going to be a tough game, but it's probably made an even tougher game going into it now because of what rides on it. It's important County hit back. It's important they respond, and I think that if they lose this again, I think you'll see a little bit more negativity in the fan base. It slowly it'll creep in if we're not careful. So I think we've got to respond well this weekend. I think we will as well. I'm always positive with County. I was positive last week. Obviously, it didn't. It was shown to be the wrong way to feel about it because we were completely shown up, to be honest. But you learn a lot more in football from defeats than you do winning, and I think we've learned a lot more from that 4-1 defeat last week than we've learned from maybe the first 2 or 3 weeks where we were winning and winning comfortably, to be honest. So we'll have learned a lot over the last few weeks, dropping points. We like to have maybe had on the board, and particularly last week, it's probably the biggest test, biggest learning curve we've had so far this season. And I think that, you'd expect this would be an even tougher test. As I say, Barnsley, they won last week, but it's been a difficult, week, a few weeks from the defeat to Stevenage, and of course Manchester United as well. They're two embarrassing defeats, so Barnsley will still be a little bit hurt by that, and they'll be looking at this kind of game and thinking, okay, Stockport County, made a lot of noise over the summer, made a lot of noise with the first 2 or 3 games, how well they started. We want to make sure that we don't allow County to, try and get 3 points from this. So they'll also want to win this game, and they'll be very, very, determined to try and get themselves into some form of momentum as well. Because as well as it's all well and good winning that game last week, but if they drop points to County on the weekend, it's not great for them either. So they'll be looking to try and build momentum on last week's result. We're looking to try and use this game as the beginning of a little bit of momentum again for us. Easy enough for me to say. So yeah, I do think it'll be a tough game. It was always going to be a tough game. The last few weeks hasn't changed that. But of course, the last few weeks, drop of points, drawing to losing a game, you're always going to sort of then look at that and go, okay, maybe are we as good as maybe we thought we were? Maybe it's a little bit of bringing back down to reality that we needed. But yeah, just a few questions I was going to ask people as well, that I want to get your thoughts in the comment section on. Do people think Corey Adai should be dropped? I've obviously put my opinion out there. I don't think he should be dropped based on just the last few weeks. If he continues to make mistakes, then I think that, then we can have a conversation. How many changes would you make from the 11 from last week? Has the last few weeks' results made you less confident about the season, or did you think these games would be almost as tough as they've been? Who can make the difference for County on Saturday? I'd like to think that Louis Barry can have an impact, but then I think we need to get away from Louis Barry just getting us out of trouble all the time. He's already got some important goals already this season. I think we need to see other players step up. We need goals from midfield as well. In the way that I've sort of lined us up, I think Keillor would kind of play behind the 2 strikers. Maybe we can start to get a bit more goal involvement from Will Keillor, particularly scoring as well would be nice. But yeah, that's just my opinion on it. What was the next question here as well? Yeah, who can make the difference for County on Saturday? Who do you consider to be Barnsley's biggest threat as well? I want to get your thoughts on that. And of course, do you think County will win? I want a score prediction on that as well. Just before we finish as well, obviously I want to get your thoughts on that. We're just going to quickly have a look at the next 5 matches for Stockport County, including the Barnsley game. Obviously after that we've got Shrewsbury on Tuesday night, Wigan at home the next Saturday, Wycombe a week later, a week after that, and then of course Charlton on 19th of October. How many points should we get from the next 5? I mean, if I'm looking at that, you would think at least a point. You'd be looking for at least a point against Barnsley at the weekend, so that's 1 point. Shrewsbury Town away from home, they've not started the season well, it doesn't look like. Again, you'd expect to win that. We're talking 4 points. Wigan really should be looking to win that, to be honest, but you might take a point. So yeah, I don't know. How many points should we get from the next 5 games looking at that? Them sort of set of fixtures: Barnsley, Shrewsbury, Wigan, Wycombe and Charlton Athletic. Like I say, answer those questions that I've asked as well if you can. As always, smash the like button if you've enjoyed it. Hit subscribe as well. It makes a big difference to the channel, helps us grow. And of course, if you are watching and you don't have the notification bell clicked, make sure you click that to basically let you know when videos go up on this channel. Like always, I want to get your input. Comment section below. Don't forget to check out as well talkcounty.com, the forum. I'll keep talking about it. It's always good stuff that's going on in there as well. So do go check that out. The link is in the description below. As are all the other social links on the channel as well. So yeah, do go check all that out. Yeah, I think pretty much covered everything there. So thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully Stockport County do manage to win the game on Saturday as well. Also, we'll have the match vlog out as well. Should be out pretty much by the time we get back. So, expect it Sunday morning is what I would say. So yeah, thanks everyone. Hopefully we'll get the win. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, like I say, and I'll see you guys in the next one.